Megan Gilchrist, and I am Jacob Gilchrist's wife, and I have had a poop transplant. Oh, and if you hear any little baby voices in the background, it's because there is a little baby in the background. So what is a poop transplant? Well, it's actually really known as a fecal matter transplant, and this is where you take someone else's poop and it gets transplanted into your intestine. So it's literally transplanting someone's poop to go and be your poop. It's not actually like an organ transplant. It's not that intense where you have a list and all this stuff, but it's still a transplant nonetheless. So why did I get a fecal matter transplant? Well, in the summer of 2017, I was studying for my MCAT and I was so stressed out. I was at the beginning of my MCAT journey. It was like a mountain of study materials before me, and I just was like, how will I ever get through this? And I got really sick because, your stress lowers your immune system. So I got really sick. I just got hit hard with like strep throat, ear infection, sinus infection for a month, and I took pretty strong antibiotics in order to kick all of that. And the antibiotics worked a little too well. So yes, it cleared up everything that was going on up here, but it also got rid of all of my gut flora. So the antibiotics, they don't just affect your nose and your ears and your throat and everything, but it will also clear out your intestinal flora, which is what happened to me. So basically I kind of had like no flora in my gut, and what ends up happening then is if you come into contact with bad bacteria, the bad bacteria will then infest and infiltrate your intestines, and it's in there and it becomes overgrown, and it can give you really painful, difficult symptoms. So normally when you come into contact with bad bacteria, typically your body can fight it off. If it's like a bacteria that will affect your gut, typically your body can fight it off, and your good bacteria can fight your bad bacteria, and you don't have any symptoms. And you actually have bad bacteria living in you all the time. So like on your skin, you have staph. In your intestines, you have E. coli, and it's just a part of your flora, but your good bacteria keeps the bad bacteria in check. However, if you have no bacteria, then the bad bacteria can become overpopulated and leave you with horrible symptoms. So the bad bacteria that I got infected with was C. diff, and a lot of people that get this are typically a lot older, like elderly patients, and it's really sad that they can have a bowel movement on themselves and they get infected, and the nursing home staff is just not taking very good care of them, and so they're kind of neglected, and then fecal matter gets everywhere, and then C. diff, which stands for Clostridium difficile, gets infected into their body, and they overpopulates them, and then that is how they get it. I got it because, like I said, it wiped my good bacteria. I got infected, boom, no bacteria, and I got the C. diff just from living life, whatever. So what I felt like, now let me tell you, C. diff is terrible. If you ever hear anyone who has it, just pray for them because it is so bad. What I felt was horrible abdominal cramps that would literally just like take my breath away. They were so terrible. I couldn't really drive because they would like keep me from being able to drive, and I would have to pull over as like this cramping is going on. You basically have diarrhea the whole entire day. You can't leave your bathroom for more than like 10 minutes or something ridiculous. And it doesn't matter what you eat. You can eat rice, you can eat burgers, you can eat pizza, you can eat broth. It doesn't matter. You just continuously have this horrible diarrhea. Your stools are bloody, they're mucousy. It is like such a gross situation that I don't wish upon anyone. And on top of all of it, you're just so completely nauseated 24/7. Like, you just have these waves of nausea, and it never goes away. And what I basically did was like on bed rest, and because you can't do anything else. And I just remember being so weakened by all of the symptoms I was feeling, that even like scrolling through my phone, like as I'm so sick, to just like get my mind off of things, was so exhausting. I would just like lay there and drift like in and out of sleep the whole time. So anyhow, this went on for 7 months, okay? For the first like few months, it was like I'm getting treated with, get this, more antibiotics. And basically the thought of the treatment was, okay, let's just continuously wipe out her gut flora, her like bacteria, so that hopefully good bacteria takes place. So I was taking pretty strong probiotics, but they were not doing anything. And so I was taking strong probiotics, but they were not kicking it at all. And it was kind of funny, but the side effects of the antibiotics I was taking actually mimic C. diff, so you don't even know if you're like getting better or not. At some point, I was like mildly relieved of symptoms, and I actually got cleared from my colorectal specialist who was treating me at the time, because the C. diff was so severe that I was cleared to go on a medical mission trip, which I had fundraised 100% of the money for. I was ready to go to Nicaragua. I had raised all my money, and I really wanted to go and serve. And so I got cleared to go from my doctor, and I went, and then I picked up E. coli while I was there, which is just traveler's diarrhea. But if you already have C. diff, it's not just gonna go away. It's not gonna be like, oh, I just have some like 24-hour bug and then it goes away. No. I had a now super infection, and I had no idea that the C. diff could get worse, but it did. So I don't even really remember how it got worse. Let me tell you, my life was worse. My quality of life was terrible. I wasn't living. Like I said, I didn't leave my bed. So like a month or two later, I just was like, this cannot go on. I cannot keep taking antibiotics for the rest of my life, like, and just dealing with this. I had put off applying to medical school a whole year because I had missed my MCAT. And just done so poorly on my studying because I literally couldn't do anything. Like, this was putting a hold on my life because it was so intense. Not to mention, it's just gross, and my whole life just was surrounded by like my pooping schedule. It was ridiculous, and I really was not enjoying myself. So my dad was looking into treatments for this, and he was like, oh my gosh, you can just get a poop transplant. This is crazy. And I had never heard of this before, but I was like, heck yeah, I'm not even grossed out by it because my life is gross right now. So let me talk to my doctor about this because this cannot go on. So I brought it up to her, and she was like, yep, this is great. So I live in the city of San Antonio, Texas, and this is a huge city, okay? And there were only 2 doctors in this entire city, okay, this is a big city, that do a fecal matter transplant. And so I got connected with one of them, and then boom, like within a couple weeks, I was on schedule and I was ready to go get a fecal matter transplant. So I was pumped because I literally had no other options, and I was ready to feel better. I was ready to get cured from my C. diff. And I just literally had my whole hope in there because dealing with this, like I said, it was so difficult. My quality of life was so low, and it was just bringing me really down. So what I had to do is basically you have to prepare the same way that you prepare for a colonoscopy. So what you do is you don't eat anything like 24 hours before your procedure, and you basically clear your system. So you drink, a laxative, right? What do you drink?
I don't even know.
Oh yeah, well, you drink magnesium citrate, you take a bunch of like laxatives, and you like clear the gut. So I did that all you can do is like drink a bunch of water to stay hydrated. I was already having a bunch of diarrhea from C. diff anyway. This was like not a big deal, whatever. I'm getting ready. I'm so excited. And then I go in and I'm just like living in the throes of C. diff. It was horrible. And I'm just like, please, like praying, like, please God, let this be better. So I get there, and then literally the whole procedure is like, I don't know, 20 minutes. So I lay down, they put me to sleep, and then this is what they do. This is how the fecal matter transplant occurs. They have a donor's specimen, and you like go to sleep on your side, and so they have access basically to your butthole. So they have a donor specimen, and they probe it up your butt, and they go to the cecum, which is where the small intestine meets the large intestine. So they go up into the cecum, and that is where they drop off the specimen. And then when I woke up, I had the biggest urge to poop in my life, okay? And my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, took me to the procedure and was there and was supporting me, and I was an angry monster, okay? I was in the car, and they said, for this to be the most successful, you should aim for like 45 minutes without pooping. But literally all you want to do more than anything is poop, and you can't, because you need to give that bacteria time to like grow and populate the area before you just like poop it all out. But I'm so serious. You want to go more than anything. So I am in the car. We're leaving the hospital, which I don't know why. Like getting discharged from this whole situation was like so fast. So within like 5 minutes of the procedure, after they woke me up, we were like in the car, and my boyfriend was driving me, who's my husband now. So I'm in the car, clenching my butthole harder than like, oh my gosh. And every little bump in the road, I was like, like, stop, like, just, I could not deal, okay? I could not, I was so angry and like mean. But I was in so much discomfort and so much pain, okay? A lot. Anyhow, they said typically patients who get this procedure don't last longer than 15 minutes. But I wanted to make it to like an hour, because I was never going to deal with C. diff again, because this was so terrible. So my boyfriend's driving me, and I picked to go to a place that was longer than, that took like, I don't know, 30-ish minutes or something to get there, so that I would be forced to hold it in. And I guess like if I really had to go, we could just pull over, but I was determined to last as long as possible without going. So I'm in the car, and we're driving, and I make it 1 hour. I made it 1 hour. We get to a restaurant, and we order steam buns. They were amazing, but the whole experience of like getting a poop transplant kind of ruined the steam buns for me. But anyhow, I go into their bathroom, and then I poop, and you know what? I fully expected to see like someone else's poop like come out of me, but actually that's not it at all, which was really surprising and kind of like relieving also. Basically what I like pooped out was just a bunch of like white fluffiness, and that was just basically bacterial cultures. So in my mind, when I went to sleep, I thought that they literally were gonna put someone's like poop emoji, like dung pile, up inside me, and then I would have to then like poop it out. No. What they do is they basically like filter out all the good bacteria from someone's poop, and that's what they put in you. So it's just kind of like an anal probiotic if you really think of it that way. But it's alive, it's well, it's vivacious, it's going to reproduce, it is going to populate your area, and then you poop and you should be all better. So guess what? Literally within 48 hours, I was completely healed of C. diff, and I was so angry that I didn't have this procedure earlier. So a couple of frequently asked questions that I get all of the time are, one, oh my gosh, that's so gross, blah, 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 stuff like that. And just like, isn't that so gross? Doesn't that freak you out? And I'm like, no, not really, because like I said, it's basically like a probiotic. Plus, when I was dealing with it, I was in so much pain and my quality of life was terrible that I was like dying for anything. And then I also get a little like, okay, rude people when they say like, ew, that's so gross, or whatever, that's like disgusting procedure. Like, C. diff can kill people, okay? And for them to like say something that cured me of something so terrible that they just like could never even deal, I don't know, it's really dumb. The next question I get a lot is, do I know whose poop it was? So first of all, it's not poop, it's just fecal bacteria. But no, I don't. It's anonymous, and I don't really care to know either. Next is people ask if they can donate their poop because they think it's like this super easy thing, like donating blood or something, or your hair, I guess. But donating poop, statistically, you're actually more likely to get into Harvard than you are to be able to donate your poop. You have to have supreme fecal matter in order to... You have to have supreme fecal matter in order to donate. Like, it is a very, very tiny percent of the population of people who have this amazing poop. So I don't know, I guess like in people's minds, like homeless people or like drug addicts are like pooping in a bag and like dropping it off at a hospital. And that is just not the case. What are other questions I get asked a lot?
Do you ever get the dreams of the person of the
oh my gosh
transplant?
Okay, so my dad always asks me this. He always asks me if I get like visions or dreams of the person whose poop it was. You know, like that horror movie where this girl gets like an eye transplant and then she like sees like, I don't know, demons or whatever. No, I don't get any visions or dreams of someone whose poop that was. But anyhow, I am so for fecal matter transplants. If you have C. diff, if you know someone with C. diff, tell them to go get a fecal matter transplant. Because it will cure them. Really encourage that form of treatment in order for them to look into, because it seriously like saved my life. It was awesome, and I have never had C. diff since. So in order to not get C. diff again and not have a poop transplant, the only sort of consequences with this is you are not allowed to take, well, like with an asterisk, okay, so you're not allowed, asterisk, you know, you are not allowed to take antibiotics for like a year. Now obviously if you were dying and you needed antibiotics, okay, of course, like take them, but you really shouldn't take antibiotics for up to a year because your gut flora is still being established, and you don't want to do anything to shake that foundation before it's really settled. So I actually made it a year and a half, and then I just got a terrible sinus infection that was literally like, oh, terrible. So I just had to take them, and then it was fine. And then ever since then, I've been super passionate about gut health and probiotics, fermented foods, drinking kombucha every day. If you check out my husband's other video on how to make kombucha, because we brew our own kombucha and we drink it every day. So this just made me really passionate about that type of health holistically, and eating things that nourish my body and really help encourage and grow and fortify that gut flora that I now have thanks to the fecal matter transplant. And that is kind of my story, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I love to answer them because this is not that gross, and it was a really cool experience. So there you go. Thanks. So anyhow, my name is Megan Gilchrist. This is Gideon Gilchrist, and you are watching Jacob Gilchrist's channel. I'm his wife. This is his baby. Yeah, we're swirly. Bye. God bless. We love you. Were you cute? Were you cute?